So this last 2 years have been a challenge for me too. I'm learning as I go, but I have to preach. He put the desire of preaching in my heart so strong that that's all I want to do. And it's so even stronger today. It keeps getting stronger and stronger, believe it or not. It's incredible how powerful His Word is. And so I just keep preaching. I just keep preaching and preaching and preaching and learning as I go. I keep writing. So my first writings, I look at them now and I think, man, I don't even want to show them these writings. Because what I know now from what I knew back when I first started, it's like night and day. I don't have details in them. I don't have the understanding that I, back then, that I needed to really relate to this truth, to really teach anybody. So I was just, I was just pouring things out, and without even really knowing. It's not that it's lies. It's not that. It's just that I don't have it all there. Like at first, I was saying that Jesus was baptized by water. Now, okay, yes, because that was a pagan practice, by the way. That wasn't something God made. That was a Judaic thing they picked up in Babylon. The Jews were captives there, so they picked up a lot of paganism and a lot of different beliefs. So they had this baptism thing going, and whether or not that story was really written up right or not, it doesn't make any difference. It could have been totally changed by the Romans. And if Jesus was ordered to go through that baptism, what he was basically doing there was he had to go by with whatever the Judaism was doing. He wasn't resisting that at that moment. Now he did later on when he got the teachings from God. Now God taught him a lot of things up to that time. His first 30 years, he learned a lot of things, but he didn't get everything, and he got taught a lot more in the next 3 years because that's when he was speaking more. The more he spoke, the more he learned, because God was giving him words on the run. So I'm sure Jesus was like flabbergasted by some of these things he spoke. So in the beginning, he did that baptism. He didn't know that was wrong. It's not that it's wrong. He didn't know he didn't need it. He didn't know it was a pagan worshiping, a pagan belief. But by the time he was speaking to the Jews, he knew that all those things were pagan. And he told them so. He exposed all these beliefs of theirs. And that's what really upset them. Because their scriptures to them were more important than God. They didn't know who God was. They thought God was in their scriptures, and He wasn't. And Jesus even told them, He told them many times, I'm sure. But there's one recording in the Bible about Him talking about, you search the scriptures for your eternal life, but you avoid me. You got to come through, the gospel. I'm speaking the gospel. That's the voice of God. That's who you got to listen to, not your scriptures. The scriptures can't do anything for you. They're just words in a book. They're only to testify to me, to the Word. So, they were they had no idea what he's talking about. That's how much the scriptures had changed from the original words. In fact, even if they were original words, they wouldn't have understood them anyway because they were sinners. They had sins of the flesh. They could not understand the scriptures the way they were supposed to be. So they took them out of context. And usually the Jews did take them out of context. Not like the Christians do. They just read the Word, the scriptures. They read them for what they were. But they had a lot of pagan worshippers add scriptures to them, for their own benefit. So now they added their little beliefs in there to get control of the people. They wanted attention. They wanted people to look at them, the flesh, because that's what the pagans did. You see? They lost contact with God all way back. Even in the times of Moses, they really didn't connect with Moses, with the God of Moses. They were into their flesh. They were sinners. They didn't know any different. So it's only those people who were created as the Word that are going to hear the truth in the gospel that us saints preach. You know, the only people that will ever hear it. Everybody else are sinners. And what I've seen so far is Christians really resent the truth strongly, and they're supposed to. You know, I don't get angry when somebody bans me. I just go to the next. I just keep preaching the Word, and I'll just keep preaching the Word until I'm dead. When the guy sticks a gun in my forehead and says, "That's an end to you," I'm just going to laugh at him, because I know where I'm going to wake up and have eternal life forever. And it's going to be that quick. He's going to shoot me. I'll be waking up in a body in that quick of a time. That's because we don't register time when we're just thoughts in God, in our images. We cannot understand that dead frame of mind. Nothing. We just exist in God. And then when we get into a new body again, boom, we start becoming aware. Now, as saints and prophets and Jesus, now we'll wake up in adult bodies. So, man, boom, right away, instantly, we'll know we're in a different body. We'll know that, man, we're still living. You know, but we won't remember how we died. We won't remember our lives. It's like we'll have amnesia. You know, but we know we'll be alive. We know who we are. We know we're existing. That's because the Word is in us. You see? And that Word was spoken through us, so we'll have knowledge of what happened. And then from there we'll be taught more and more and more. We'll know that we have to get a new language to put together. God will guide us all through the Word. He'll guide us to do all these things that He wants us to do. So we need to establish a vocabulary and words, vocabulary and language before we can communicate together. Before God can really communicate to us. You know? So at first it's going to be quite a struggle. So you see how these are the people I'm trying to find in this age. I'm not trying to find people to sign up in some cult or religion. Nothing whatsoever. That's not who we saints are. You know, we're individuals. We never sign people up. We just find these people, these chosen people, once they have the understanding, once they get the knowledge of God, they're on their own. Bam! We don't have to teach them anymore. The teacher's in them. The knowledge is the teacher. Okay? So that's who I'm looking for. And you know, if it sounds terrible, some people just hate me because of the way I sound, but that's because it's the truth. If I call you a liar, it's because it's the truth. If I call you other things, because it's the truth. I'm trying to wake you up. I'm trying to see if you're a chosen one. That's all I'm doing. And I might get down on some just to prolong it. Doesn't make any difference. You're not going to remember it anyway. So, happy eternal life, everyone. And enjoy your death, however you die. I know it's not going to be enjoyable, but I tell you what, you won't remember. So, have a good day. See you later.